He's the former chairman of the board of the International Bluegrass Music Museum, and he is the #1 cheerleader for bluegrass music in our area. What a success bluegrass has brought to Owensboro here over the past 20 years. Terry Woodward, nice to have you here.
Thanks for inviting me, Kirk.
Well, you've got a great success in Romp.
Everything lined up for us this year. The weather was perfect. We had a great talent lineup. People are now learning how great this festival is, and they're coming back year after year.
Certainly has a huge growth history. In 2010, you had over 6,000 people, but the next year, in 2011, it more than doubled to 13,000, up to 18,000 the next year. And are you capped out here at 20,000?
Probably we're capped out on Saturday night. Nice problem to have, Kirk. I think we're rapidly approaching to where we may end up capping it. I think there's a certain amount of people that you can accommodate. They'll have a great experience. I think once you get past that point, maybe started going the other way. So it's a nice problem to have. It's really taken on a life of its own.
Well, you've been to all of them, Terry. What were some of the highlights personally for you at Romp this year?
Amazing of the young people out there. 7 or 8 years ago, you would not have seen these young people out there dancing. A lot of people are camping out, and I saw a lot of people from Owensboro this year, first time they'd been, and their comments basically were, I always kind of blew this off, but man, I didn't realize what a great event it is.
Well, one reason for the success has to be Yellow Creek Park. What a wonderful venue for this type of event.
About 150-acre park in the county. They had that park in pristine condition.
I'm sure you've already had people ask about next year's Romp Festival.
A lot of the campers have already asked when they can reserve their space for their RV because we were maxed out this year.
The International Bluegrass Music Museum has been here in Owensboro now for well over 10 years, and a lot of people that came to Romp obviously visited the museum. I think a lot of people may be surprised how many people visit throughout the year and where they're from.
Last year, Kirk, we had visitors from 52 foreign countries and all 50 states. When we move in the new Bluegrass Center, it's going to be so great. We'll have some different ways to market, the museum and market Owensboro.
International Bluegrass Music Center. Originally, you were going to keep the building, but decided it was going to be better to tear down. Why?
Kirk, we tried, just could not make it work efficiently. It was actually going to cost us more to retrofit that building than to start from scratch. Since we're building from scratch, we're going to add a third floor. We're going to have a barbecue restaurant on the third floor with inside-outside seating, great view of the river. And, there's something about bluegrass and barbecue.
What's inside that people may be unaware of?
We're going to have a state-of-the-art 500-seat theater. We want to create a bluegrass opera. We want to webcast this show all over the world every Saturday night. That's one component. I mentioned the restaurant up on the third floor, and then we're going to expand the museum space, include a children's area. It's going to include an international hall, very high-tech. We have 268 video oral histories. We'll have that where you could literally come to the museum and spend a couple of weeks just viewing videos that we'll have available. So it's going to be a state-of-the-art museum, state-of-the-art theater, great restaurants, part of that. Yes, another component will be an outdoor theater.
Owensboro has become known as the center of bluegrass in large part because of the International Bluegrass Music Museum. What does this mean to the bluegrass community and those musicians?
As you know, our museum houses the Hall of Fame, voted on every year by the International Bluegrass Music Association. So most of these musicians have been to Owensboro. Our museum is the Bluegrass Museum of the world. Our mission is to preserve history of bluegrass music. We're doing a great job of that, and we have a lot of artifacts, and Smithsonian would love to have, believe me.
The International Bluegrass Music Center there on the corner of 2nd and Frederica will be the final piece to the downtown puzzle.
What this center will do, Kirk, is bring tourists from all over the world to Owensboro. Romp is once a year. Every week, this museum will attract a lot of people from all over the world, and I think 100,000, 200,000 people a year visit. And that is just great economic dollars for Owensboro and Davis County.
The center itself will cost between $10 and $12 million. Not all of the money has yet been raised. How can people help?
We want to do it right. We're at about $8.5 million in fundraising, so we have about $4 million to raise. Every little bit helps. If anyone would like to make a contribution, send a check to the International Bluegrass Museum at 117 Davis Street in Owensboro, 42303. Just now beginning our national fundraising campaign to reach out to the bluegrass world. We're identifying some corporate sponsorships. So we have about $4 million to go. I think it's very doable. And when this facility is finished, it will really be a treasure here in Owensboro.
We're talking to Terry Woodward, the former past chairman of the board of the International Bluegrass Music Museum and Association as well. And finally, Terry, the Americana Foundation has created something called the Americana Music Triangle. What is that about?
Group down in Franklin, Tennessee. They're trying to create a music trail, and they call it the Music Triangle. New Orleans, Memphis, Nashville, then back down to New Orleans and through there. And that really covers the Cajun music, blues, soul, the rock and roll, country. But the missing piece actually was bluegrass. We met with them, and they agreed that was the missing piece. They came up and visited us during Romp. We gave them a tour of the city, and this center we're building is exactly what they would like all of the other communities to do. So there's going to be the Music Triangle, and there's going to be a side trip to Owensboro that's going to be included in this music trail. So I think it's very important and exciting that we're going to be included in this trail.
Thank you, Terry Woodward, the former chair and the greatest cheerleader of bluegrass in the area. The International Bluegrass Music Center opening sometime in the next year or so. Good luck, Terry, and thanks for all you do for our community.
Thanks, Kirk. I enjoyed it.